What do you get when you combine Saw with Insidious? Well, I don't think you're gonna get the call either way, but you will get Tobin Bell and Lin Shaye. They are in the movie, yes, but they're not in it as much as you would like, though their performance is the best part of the call. Now, you could forgive yourself for not knowing that this film even exists. I didn't even know this film even existed until recently. The Call is a horror movie. It's about 4 teenagers. One of them's a new kid who just moved into town, who meets up with the pretty girl, and then you get to meet the pretty girl's ex-boyfriend and his younger brother, and they're both delinquents, and she's a delinquent as well. They introduce him to Lin Shaye, a neighbor lady who they claim is a witch, who is responsible for the death of the girl's younger sister, or so they claim. And the poor new kid gets rounded up into Lin Shaye's diabolical, demonic revenge scheme. Because they have been terrorizing, well, these 3, not the new kid, obviously. These 3 kids have been terrorizing Lin Shaye's life for the past almost 10 years. And she has finally had enough. And she has decided to leave this world and go to the next one. Tobin Bell, who plays her husband, is very distraught over this. He's very upset. But Lin Shaye left a plan in her will to include the 4 kids? The 4? Why the 4th kid? She just met him 1 night ago. How does she even know his name? Well, we have to include him because he's part of the film. Because there's no other reason for him to be here. Obviously, you probably could have written him out. Her revenge is against the 3 brats, not the 4th one who just happened to be there on the very last night. And they just somehow found his name. Whatever, fine. He's involved. She brings all 4 of these brats to her house. Tobin Bell does, and he gives them a game. That's why they have him involved, because they wanted Tobin Bell to say game. She liked to play games, and the way he said game sounds like Jigsaw when he says game. Doesn't that remind you of Saw? So Tobin Bell plays a game with the 4 teenagers, and he says all you have to do is go upstairs and dial a phone number next to the phone on the desk that you find there, and if you could stay on the phone for 1 minute, you will win $100,000. And then you get to leave, whatever, I don't care. And so he has an order of the teenagers when they go upstairs to do their thingamajiggy. So first comes the big bully, the worst of the 4 brats, easily. He goes up there, he makes a call, and Lin Shaye, who's supposed to be dead, picks up the phone from the other life, afterlife, ether realm, and she pulls him into the spirit world, where he gets to go out through all sorts of terror, spooky, hoopsy, whatever, and it definitely feels like she pulled him into the further. So that's why they combined it. It's Saw and Insidious, but instead of gore-tastic gore contraptions, we have a phone and pulls you into the further. And instead of being a kindly old lady who helps people, Lin Shaye is a very angry spirit who torments the 4 teenagers. But they do show the past history of the 4 teenagers through this stuff. So we get to learn that the biggest bully here was bullied by his father. Very abused, very, very terrible father, man. And so that it's understandable why he grew up to be such a maladjusted person. But instead of being understanding, Lin Shaye is full of anger. So she's only there to make him relive the worst memories of his life before ending his life. And so he's gone. Up next is the younger brother. He goes upstairs and we get to do more of the evil father abusive thing. So we get to see that. And then he dies. Up next is the new kid. And we get to see his scary past. And his scary past is that he used to have a girlfriend in the old town he used to live in. And he ended up getting her pregnant. And she's starting to show, and they go like, we have to tell the parents, and all this stuff. And he goes like, can't this wait until after the finals? We have finals in a few weeks. We gotta do that. And he's freaking out, he's as you do. And so she storms off into her car, and then that car ends up going off a cliff, and she dies. Very tragic, very tragic. But at least he got out of. Don't make that joke. Obviously, he got out of it, though. But then he gets to see her again in the Further. And she helps him escape the Further. Because she doesn't blame him for her death. She wants him to escape and find the phone, which is the tether between the living world and the Further. And so he finds the phone and he gets out of the spirit world. And then he tries to save the girl, his new girlfriend, which ends up actually being the worst person of the four. But the new kid doesn't know this. The new kid's a new kid. He's so ignorant of this entire film and everything that is going on. He's just a victim of the shenanigans of Tobin Bell, Lin Shaye, and the three delinquent teenagers. He's just the poor victim. So he goes to try to save the girl and ends up getting pulled back into the spirit world, where you get to learn that the girl is actually the one who killed her younger sister, because the younger sister was the favorite in the family. She was the favorite, the baby, everybody loved her, and the older sibling got nothing. And so the older sibling throws the younger sibling off a bridge, makes it look like an accident, and she gets to wear the little necklace that her younger sister was wearing. And then we get to learn that Lin Shaye was a very kindly neighbor lady. She was like a little kindly old granny to the younger sister. She gave the younger sister a necklace, a little locket. It's a very sweet gesture. And the big sister, Trish is her name, she steals the locket and throws the younger sister off the bridge, obviously. And she wears the locket to this day. And Lin Shaye sees that locket around Trish's neck, and she just loses it. She just absolutely loses it. She wants revenge against Trish for ruining her life. Trish wanted somebody to blame, because she couldn't blame herself. She refused to blame herself for killing her younger sister, so she blamed it on the kindly old Lin Shaye, and it ruined her life. It ruined her life for the past 10 years. I feel so sorry for her, because it really did burn away the last of her humanity. All that is left is a dark, demonic spirit that just wants vengeance. She has no sweetness or goodness left in her, and she can't even determine an innocent teenager from the three that have been tormenting her. She can't even make the difference anymore. So the new kid who goes back into the Further to save Trish ends up dying there as well. Even though he was able to get out the first time, he goes back to save the girl who ended up actually being the one who killed her sister. And wow, I feel so bad for this new kid, man. He's just a victim in this whole thing. But then again, the call is kind of meh in general. I had to review it sooner or later, because if I didn't talk about it, I probably wouldn't remember what happened in this movie. But if you were ever interested in seeing a movie with both Tobin Bell and Lin Shaye in the film as the villains, go for it. I'd go for it. It's not that long. It's like 82 to 85 minutes. It's not that long at all. If you want to watch this movie, go for it. If you love movies like Insidious, Saw, Nightmare on Elm Street, particularly the sequels, fine. Go ahead and watch The Call. You see how it holds up. Personally, I don't think it holds up at all, but hey, it's still an interesting time. Tobin Bell and Lin Shaye are still interesting to watch and hear, and whenever they give lines in this movie, they're still fine. It's okay, just not that great.